Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna warn you, today is gonna be a little dark. It's all about Leonardo DiCaprio. It's called, what did I name this? Leonardo DiCaprio is a Slave. I was watching some stuff about him recently, and I did meet him once. He's very nice, but I'll talk more about that in a bit. But I did an episode about this maybe a year ago called "Why Did No One Help Leonardo DiCaprio?" And I've had more time to reflect on it. And I think I figured some stuff out. I'll show you some original footage of him on the set of Growing Pains and some of this stuff, and who he worked with, and the convicted pedophiles that were surrounding him his entire childhood, and why they break people. Here's a shot of DiCaprio in a humiliation ritual on the set of What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And no smart boys today. All smart boys will be banned. If anybody's like, how dare you? This is some dark stuff we're about to cover. Dark. Do not question this stuff. Because it's not, like, you can if you want. You'll be banned immediately. It's dark. So just before we get it going, that Leonardo video was the very first Owen video I watched. Oh, cool, Papa J Bear. Hello, everybody. I want to feel bad for him that I remember he's probably eating kids. You don't know that. I would guess that. Let me show you an image real quick. And then we'll start with some levity. I'll show you something funny, and then we'll get into this. I would guess that this is more what he is. Actually, no. Should I even show this? It's so weird. But he's a gimp. Remember Pulp Fiction? Let me show you this image. This is DiCaprio. And he's a pawn. He's a slave. He's an absolute, because there's rituals that when I played lacrosse in college, it wasn't a big deal because I was one of the I started as a freshman and stuff, and it just the culture of my lacrosse team wasn't very hazy, but a lot of groups have hazing rituals where you beat someone down, build them back up. It's what the Marines do. It's what everybody does. And the globalist elites do it with sex with children. And then why do they do that? Because they absolutely break the person starting at a very young age. The Jesuits do this as well. And obviously the Grabblers do this. And then from there, you build them up in whatever image you want. All right. So let's talk about Leonardo DiCaprio. Because I saw this, right? Vanity Fair. Today in positive news, Leonardo DiCaprio and Greta Thunberg are joining forces. History will judge us for what we do today to help guarantee that future generations can enjoy the same livable planet that we have so clearly taken for granted. Quote unquote, regram Leonardo DiCaprio. And someone sent this to me and said they probably bonded over being touched and brainwashed by Grabblers. Because when you look at these people that they march out to enact their global initiatives, they all start somewhere. Would you like to see where Leonardo DiCaprio started? Okay, and thanks to Jamie Deluxe is where I got some of this footage from. 1 second. And bear in mind, he was from his mother is an insane single mother, no father to protect him, sent to the wolves as a young kid. Okay.
Who do I look like?
Little Ricky Schroeder, I think.
Oh, yeah, Ricky Schroeder.
This one. Yeah. Then we can.
Young River Phoenix.
Stardom started early for Leonardo. By the time he was hired at 16 to star with TV's biggest teen star, Kirk Cameron, on the hit show Growing Pains in 1991, he'd already been acting for more than 10 years. He starred in commercials and the kids' show Romper Room before landing on the sitcom. And he was an on-the-set cut-up from the start.
I know we can show them. Our little drawings.
Show us a little drawing.
You see him? We draw
You
drawings.
see the touching between him and this guy? Just take note of that. I'll tell you who this guy is in a second.
Our little drawings.
Show us a little drawing.
You see him? We draw drawings of each other. Brian is the famous artist, and we always make fun of each other and portray each other in silly, satirical ways.
Leo's job on this set, for some reason, is to make fun of me all day long.
Okay, so here we have Robert
See
De
how he
Niro.
walked? I don't want to be too graphic, but it's pretty disturbing when you find out who Brian Peck is. Hang on. watch
Leo's
this.
job on this set, for some reason, is to make fun of me all day long.
Okay, so here we have Robert De Niro. Right there. See Robert?
Okay, so who is that guy that he was grabbing and touching and prancing around the set with? Meet Brian Peck. In prison for child molestation. Brian Peck, writer, director, producer, is widely known for his role in movies like Return of the Living Dead, X-Men. X-Men was directed by another pedophile of a certain tribal descent named Bryan Singer. Brian Peck also made TV Boy Meets World. He's also widely known for being in prison for 1 year and 4 months with charge of abusing a child for sex. 2004, Brian Peck was in prison for committing a lewd act against a child under 14, attempting sodomy by a foreign object, and oral copulation without knowledge of a person under 16. According to the report, the victim was Nickelodeon star, where he doesn't want his name to be revealed. Peck pleads no contest, where he was sentenced to 16 months jail with registered as a sex offender. His charges were 8 counts of sexual abuse using a child for sex acts and oral copulation by anesthesia or controlled substance. He knocked out a young kid and raped him. He used to do it all the time. Let's watch Brian Peck again with Leonardo DiCaprio. Don't let your kids watch Nickelodeon or Disney, by the way.
Who do I look like?
That's
Ricky
him.
Schroeder, I think.
Oh, yeah, Ricky Schroeder.
This one. Yeah. Then we can.
Young River Phoenix.
Stardom started early for Leonardo. By the time he was hired at 16 to star with TV's biggest teen star, Kirk Cameron, on the hit show Growing Pains in 1991, he'd already been acting for more than 10 years. He starred in commercials and the kids' show Romper Room before landing on the sitcom. And he was an on-the-set cut-up from the start.
I know we can show them. Our little drawings.
Show us a little drawing.
Oh, the
You
little
see him?
drawing.
We draw drawings of each other. Brian is the famous artist, and we always make fun of each other and portray each other in silly, satirical ways.
Leo's job on this set, for some reason, is to make fun of me all day long.
Okay, so here we have
Sodomy with a foreign object.
Robert De Niro. Right there. See Robert?
Sodomy with a foreign object. Okay, so my first question was, why did no one protect him? Oh, and there's more. Here's a headshot of Leonardo DiCaprio as a young boy, and his headshot photographer was Bob Villard. That was his headshot photographer. So who exactly is Bob Villard? 1 second. I'm Bob Villard. Okay, real quick. Bob Villard was a headshot photographer who was convicted of, hang on, where is this? A number of men associated with the 80s hit show Growing Pains, and in particular, one of the show's child star, DiCaprio, are convicted pedophiles. A female staff member on Growing Pains suggested that Kirk Cameron, during his conversion to Christianity, showed concern to DiCaprio and warned him of the numerous pedophiles associated with the show and in Hollywood in general, and that DiCaprio used this information to blackmail the offenders into more prominent movie roles. Brian Peck convicted Steve Marshall, Bob Villard. Let me see. Let me get you a little bit. Oh, is that Steve Marshall's? Wait a second. His agent was also sexual abuse. Harvey Weinstein. Bob Villard. Hang on. Sorry about this. Bob Villard also took young teenage boys photos of Tom Cruise, Jason Bateman, Leonardo DiCaprio, yada yada. I believe he was sentenced to. Growing Pains star Kirk Cameron caught Marshall on set with other producers looking at child porn. 3 producers actually left the show when Cameron phoned the ABC president to tell them they were pornographers. Kirk had many questionable photos taken by prolific serial pedophile publicist Bob Villard of Globe Photos, Inc., which can still be found online right now. Bob Villard, Bobby V, is a convicted pedophile, and he did all of DiCaprio's photos. Let's watch a little bit more of the hellish life of Leonardo DiCaprio, and then I'll get into why they do this. Because the why used to always bother me, but now I know.
Wilhelm DiCaprio was destined to be a spirited boy. He received his first name after swiftly kicking his mother from her womb as she admired a Leonardo da Vinci painting. Born in Los Angeles on November 11, 1974, Leonardo was the only child of George and Ermeline DiCaprio, who divorced when he was just a year old.
Leo says he was raised in Compton. He likes to make us think that he's straight out of Compton. Mr. Pale as a dead fish belly and blonde hair is straight out of Compton.
He didn't grow up in Compton, but he did grow up in Hollywood. And he admits he wasn't much of a student, preferring to entertain his classmates rather than do his homework.
I was sort of a class clown, and my publicist is looking at me.
By the way, the publicist that's looking at him is a convicted pedophile. And then DiCaprio's agent. 1 second. Hollywood talent agent defends against pedophilia allegations by claiming 11-year-old victim wanted it. In a story that will no doubt ruin your day, we learned of yet another disturbing that. Following this month's tale of Jason James, the casting agent who happened to also be a convicted kidnapper and accused child molester, we meet Martin Weiss, also from the same tribe of individuals that wear very small hats. Weiss was charged with 8 felonies relating to sexual abuse allegations made by a former underage client. The former client, an 18-year-old musician actor, reportedly crimes to police. Weiss actually saw them around 11 until he turned 15 when he stopped working as his manager. Weiss reportedly intimidated the victims by threatening their careers. The victim says Weiss told him that what they were doing was common practice in the entertainment industry, and if they were were to tell anyone, it would ruin the careers. I had my career ruined for standing up for against the abuses of children, and I'm doing great. So, for those of you out there where people threaten your career, let it burn. That's like saying, if you tell, we'll stop shoving a hot poker up your ass. And being like, oh, I need the hot poker up my ass. The victim fearing for safety. All right. Weiss' defense that the victim asked for it. Weiss claimed the boy invited the sex and claimed the Penn State situation was different because those kids didn't want it. The affidavit states, Weiss, who faces 34 years in prison, has worked with several child actors on shows like iCarly, Parenthood, and the Muppets movie. He also worked with Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay. Let's find out a little more about Brian Peck. How's Brian Peck? Oh, and Brian Peck, by the way, this is the interesting part. This is the stuff that would always bother me. Why does he still get to work? I always thought it was a grave injustice. When was he convicted? Brian Peck. When was he convicted for child molestation? In 2004, Brian Peck was in prison for committing a lewd act against a child under 14. So let's see if he's worked since 2004. Yeah, of course. Freaks of Nature, Murder Bullet, Anger Management, starring Charlie Sheen. Jack and the Beanstalk, Designed for Dreaming, Forever Strong. These are all the things he's done since he was convicted. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Nickelodeon. A convicted child rapist worked there from 2006 to 2007. House of Fears. Outlaw Trail. What I Like About You TV series. X-Men. Okay, so a guy that was imprisoned for shoving a foreign object up a young boy's anus was open for business in Hollywood again. Why? I can explain why in a minute. Let's just really, I want to make sure that the smart boys and the gamma males aren't like, you can't make these, just because you work with someone. Okay, let's watch a little more of the DiCaprio story. This is how you break someone into doing anything that you want them to. It's how you make a slave, guys.
The latest, hottest, hunkiest teen idol there is.
Yeah, muscles.
Look, speaking of hunky, huh?
Leo, what's it like to be a teen idol?
Ask Kirk Cameron. I don't. Well, I see my pictures there, and it's fun seeing those, and I haven't really got the full impact of it yet, so.
I don't know about that teen thing. I mean, I think it's good. I think it's good for publicity, but they don't. It's almost like they're not actors. You know what I mean? And it's like they portray them as like sort of a piece of meat. Like, here's the new cute thing. Take a look at him and go, ooh.
Okay, it's really sad. I get it, but so Steve Marshall, Martin Weiss, Brian Peck, and Bob Villard were all working directly with Leonardo DiCaprio as he was a child. They would put him in movies where he would be photographed like that. It's brutal. And so what is he now? He's now a spokesperson for the global elite to push lies, to push whatever they want him to push. And he will. I wouldn't be surprised if he's never been with a woman. Because the way this works is they take a young boy and they try and make him into a sex object for the pedophiles. And the elite may not even be pedophiles. They might just use the small hats to rape the kids so that they're broken. Their spirit is broken. They can be easily controlled. So the reason they put him into stuff like this, 1 second, is very obvious now to me, and I didn't know it before. Hang on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Would you see images like this? You have to understand that this boy was alleged. I'm alleging. I'm just the jury's still out, but the odds are almost 100% that he was viciously and constantly raped by pedophiles his entire childhood. Groups of them passed around, photographed, mocked, humiliated. He had no father. His mother was insane. And so this is a kid that was deeply damaged. And so what do? They put him in movies so that women associate romance, love, sexuality, all this stuff with him. And men want to be him because he gets all these women. He's probably never been with a woman. That's my guess. His brain is so screwed up and so wired off that they'll march him out with the newest supermodel or something to try and make people think that there's a reason he doesn't have kids. He doesn't have a wife. He's probably never been with a woman. His brain is fried. And so they make the whole world. They put this. I recently did an episode just on Titanic, just the horrors and the occult symbolism of Titanic. But they make all these young women fall in love with him so that when he talks nonsense in the future, they will listen. Because when you get women, you get the heartbeat of the American family and then the global family. There's no globe, by the way. It's so sick how this all works. The distortion of our earth. And so he was passed around on websites as a kid by pedophiles. This is not someone to look up to. This is someone who is really, really messed up mentally. I'm going to play the first one more time because you have to understand the guy he's in a relationship with, or at least being raped by, is right here. Watch the body language and watch him cover his ass as he walks away. It's insane.
I look like
Little Ricky Schroeder, I think.
Yeah, Ricky
If we can get
Schroeder.
through this one. Yeah. Then we can.
Young River Phoenix.
Stardom started early for Leonardo. By the time he was hired at 16 to star with TV's biggest teen star, Kirk Cameron, on the hit show Growing Pains in 1991, he'd already been acting for more than 10 years. He starred in commercials and the kids' show Romper Room before landing on the sitcom. And he was an on-the-set cut-up from the start.
I know we can show them our little drawings.
Show us a little drawing.
Oh, the
You
little
see,
drawing.
we draw drawings of each other. Brian is the famous artist, and we always make fun of each other and portray each other in silly, satirical ways.
Leo's job on this set, for some reason, is to make fun of me all day long.
Okay, so here we have Robert De Niro, right there. See Robert?
Okay, so that guy, as I just read earlier, was convicted. He had to go to prison for 16 months for drugging and raping a young boy. Little trivia about Brian Peck, the pedophile I just showed you. He was selected by Bryan Singer as his partner for the X-Men commentary track. How do him and Bryan Singer know each other? Bryan Singer is another man of Ashkenazi descent. Or not that it matters. Yeah, it's what, 0.5% of the American population, and everybody I'm showing you right now. I think this is their role in Hollywood, to break the animals. Bryan Singer was born on September 17, 1965. What has he done? The Gifted, 36 credits, executive producer. Bohemian Rhapsody, director. Legion, 16 episodes. X-Men Apocalypse. Battle Creek, 13 episodes. Black Box, 13 episodes. Spooked, 4 episodes. X-Men Days of Future Past. H+, Jack and the Giant Slayer, producer. You Want Me to Kill Him, Ronnie and I. Mockingbird Lane, House TV series executive producer, 176 episodes. X-Men First Class, X-Men Origins Wolverine, Dirty Sexy Money, Valkyrie, The Plot to Kill Hitler, Trick or Treat. Why am I reading all these? All of this is after he was accused by several young boys of raping and molesting them. So this isn't an accident, guys. X2, X-Men United, Burn, Apt Pupil. Apt Pupil, one of the boys in Apt Pupil killed himself, but before doing that, he let everyone know that Ian McKellen and Bryan Singer had raped him in the shower. Oh yeah, Ian McKellen. Let's check out old Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen, widely regarded as one of the greatest stage and screen actors, both in his native Great Britain and internationally. Twice nominated for blah, blah, blah. Let's check out his family. What is his family? Let's check out his trivia. Does he have children? No. Trivia. According to an interview one of the last Margaret Thatcher did as Prime Minister, was recommend him for knighthood. Yeah, he serves that crown, doesn't he? Let's see more. A tattoo. All right. He was appointed Knight Bachelor in 91. Played the vampire in the music video Heart by Pet Shop Boys. I bet you did. Awards. Where is his family? Where is his family? Doesn't have one, does he? Wore a prosthetic nose to play Gandalf. His family. Well, who have you been fucking, Ian? Who have you been fucking? Ian's mother, Marjorie, died when he was 12, and his father, Dennis, died when he was 24. One of his biggest film regrets of Clan McKellen began in his grandfather on his mother's side, Robert Lowes, had an active member of an institution that campaigned to get half of a day holiday, blah, 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 blah. Who's your family? Okay, so Hollywood is riddled with pedophiles. So how do they make a DiCaprio? How do they make someone that will just march out anything they're told? Because don't some of you guys wonder how someone in a private jet can talk down to us about fossil fuels? And you wonder, you say, how can someone do that? Well, I'll show you how they do it, because they are this. This isn't Leonardo DiCaprio. That's a character named Jack that was written by Grabblers. This is Leonardo DiCaprio. He's a gimp. So, paid by millions to depict a liar, a cheater, a murderer, a fraudster, a thief, a gambler, and to sell global finance initiatives painted as stopping the world from getting hotter with guilt and hypocritical condemnation. Status, grab or gimp. Prescription, public repentance. Consensus, forgivable. Mercy, rejection, punishment, severe public shame. Unless it turns out that Leonardo DiCaprio is doing this to other kids, there's zero evidence that he's doing that. None. So when you say, I bet he eats babies, you have no idea if he eats babies. Like when you're doing stuff like this, when you're making videos about people, when you're talking about stuff like this, you can't accuse people who are innocent of really crazy stuff. I know I've said in the past that I believe, my gut says that there is some sort of inappropriate sexual relationship between Jordan Peterson and his daughter. Man, that's just recent. No, it isn't. He likes her photos where she's in her underwear. He's a mess. He's a liar. And in Maps to Meaning, Jordan Peterson's books, he talks about having extreme sexual dreams about his grandmother and his cousin. He's an incest guy. I'm not coming out of nowhere with this stuff. DiCaprio, there's zero evidence that he is doing any of that. My current thought is that he is that he is just a gimp to be sent out and to push global initiatives. And the reason it works is because in women's hearts, he's that. But in reality, he's that. How did he get there? He was raped his whole childhood. His brain is wired so he can't seek love. That's how this all works, guys. There's a reason that people do this to children. There's a reason that this group of short, big-nosed freaks need control over, like, facially symmetrical, young, like, growing, strong boys because they are scared, they're weak, and they want to control them. Sebastian Frank's in disguise because Arian Mom. Call it whatever you want. That's hilarious. And yes, I did actually laugh out loud when you showed that picture. Yeah. I never ever, like when I said Will Smith has an inappropriate sexual relationship with his son. Oh, how dare you? I'll show you 3 examples of him on national television forcing his young son to kiss him on the mouth as the son pulls back in embarrassment. That's an inappropriate sexual relationship with your son. I'm not taking leaps here, guys. Jordan Peterson is a creep. He wrote, if you actually read Maps of Meaning, he has dreams about his like grandma's pubes and like banging his cousin and stuff. And then he likes his daughter's photos with her in underwear. His daughter's a mess. His daughter acts like a victim of sex abuse. So I said that in my opinion, I believe that to be true. In my opinion, judging by Leonardo DiCaprio's career, who he worked with as a child, and his lack of family, and his absolute marching orders of the globalist elite, he was raped constantly as a kid. He had no father to protect him. He had an insane mother who wanted to live vicariously through her daughter that she named Leonardo because of some painting. And so the reason they're not going to jail and the reason they keep being sent out is because they serve a purpose for the globalists. The purpose is to create gimps. I never understood it. I never understood where it's like, oh, is someone... Because the way chains of command work, all it takes is one person up there to stop the whole thing. Because to approve of Brian Peck, a convicted pedophile, in all these movies and all these roles and all these positions of authority over children... You know, it starts with the casting director and then the director and then the producer and then the executive producer and then the studio head and then the main shareholders of the studio and then Time Warner. At any point, if one person said, hey, wait a minute, isn't that the guy that raped a little boy with a pipe? I was blackballed from Hollywood for saying that children can't be trans. I lost my agent, my manager, the same day, the next day. I was not allowed to perform in comedy clubs or theaters or colleges anymore. Just like that. Boom. So my sin was protecting children and their sin is raping them. So what is the purpose? There has to be a purpose. People human beings don't just do things for absolutely no reason. The purpose is you take a little boy, you do things to him, and then you own him. You know? Now he's pushing whatever they want. Greta is in the same boat. They oddly look similar. And this is in positive news. Leonardo DiCaprio and Greta. The good news is, guys, this is all coming out. Young girls are not idolizing Hollywood boys like they used to. Not even close. When I was 15, 16, this was a thing. Like, girls were like, oh my God, every night in my... If you ask like a 15... Not that I've ever done this because I don't have daughters and it would be outrageously inappropriate for me to ask a 15-year-old girl who their heartthrobs were. But just judging from societal observation, they don't seem to be into these guys anymore because I think they're acting so gay.